Hey, well, welcome back to the Arc Path.
My name is Bernard,
And I'm Casey.
and we are celebrating another fun, amazing podcast.
And it's fun and amazing because we're here.
Oh,
And we're going to engage and yet we're going to engage a topic that's not so fun.
or welcomed.
And it'll be amazing that we're going to smile all the way through it. So, Bernard, this choice to hop in this podcast is a little bit impromptu. Not typically we kind of know our schedule. We got together this morning, and you said we need to go podcast this. Talk to me about, or talk to talk to other people about it. Talk to me too, because you looked at me and said we're going to go podcast. What is what's behind this? What is the motivation, or that the impetus is the word I'm looking for. I was looking for an easier word, but why the urgency?
Well, it's so the topic is about complacency, and it's basically what I see is I'll give you a visual. You're driving a car,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a bag of money that you're holding on to, and it's just like one of those cartoons. It's got a hole in it, and as you're driving, the money is coming out of it.
Mm. I knew it wasn't going to be fun. Everybody's going, "Oh my gosh, that feels like my life." Plug the hole.
Plug the hole. And as I've been looking at the hole that's costing us an extreme amount of money. Now, again, you can replace money with personal
Mm.
joy. But at the same time, it's both. There's a financial monetary cost to complete complacency, but there's also an emotional and mental cost to complacency as well.
Mm. Complacency is, so I'm going to go with the metaphor. I see the bag of money and is draining. Does complacency mean I don't care? Is complacency I'm not willing to do something about it? Is complacency I don't know what to do?
Well, so
What is
uh,
complacency? Is kind of my question. How help us. The word complacency is maybe defined differently by a lot of people.
well, so it's defined differently by a lot of people, and then it's defined differently in different situations,
Mm.
and which makes it more complicated. And so, as I've spoken to different people about, not about the word itself, but it's about not taking action, not moving,
Mm.
waiting, pausing, and you know. There's this reality that it's a safe bet, and it's never before in history was not moving the safe bet. And that's that. Well, I just got you guys to the end.
Yeah, no, and uh, I want to go back to the middle of coming out of COVID, which isn't also. I mean, in history, God, that was yesterday.
Yes.
But there was this rejection of going back to the normal. Things are going back to normal, and people reacted to that. There is no such thing as going back to normal, but yet they simultaneously said, "But this is the new normal."
Yes.
And what I'm hearing you highlight is complacency is a new normal.
Yes.
And what complacency really is best being articulated as or defined by is the normalcy of not taking action.
Yes.
And so, as we engage this podcast, what we're addressing is the reality that people have become comfortable in a lack of action, or maybe the embrace of procrastination becoming the way we just do things.
Correct. And it's celebrated. That's the
Oh, say that again. Procrastination is celebrated.
It's celebrated. I mean, and I don't want to just bring this into it's very prevalent in our youth,
Mm.
and but it's also prevalent in our not so youth, and I'll just leave it at that. But the reality is that I it
I'm not procrastinating, I'm binge watching. And
well,
I'm not binge watching, I'm experiencing what's being brought into my life. Thank you, streaming. I mean, this is the tension we have, is this is the new normal.
it's the new normal, and so TV, that's one facet. Social media is another facet, and then where
Mm.
we're all suffering and paying the price for is on the job.
Oh,
Too much is being expected of me. There's not enough time to do it, so therefore I'm gonna do so little or nothing.
yeah. The system doesn't work anyway, and it's not my fault. I
I
don't have the resources. It's not going to work. If everything isn't falling into place, then there's nothing I can do about it. Kind of experience leads us to conclude it is a better normal not to work so hard and be disappointed.
Yes,
So
yes,
I'm comfortable procrastinating
yeah, and
or
it
complacency.
complacency. I think the that sitting with it is what's become more norm than ever before. There's a comfort in sitting. There's a comfort in not moving. And again, as a professional health coach, you
Mm-hmm.
see. I mean, and I didn't go to the physical yet.
Yep.
We just talked emotional and mental.
Yep.
What's the cost on humanity for not moving?
Uh, in action. Um, let's go back. I'm not going to go. Science. Uh, an object in motion tends to stay in motion. An object that's not in motion
Ah,
will not move.
love that.
And this is where you're highlighting a lens to go. Nobody's moving.
Yes.
The it's all slowed in such a way. So what is the cost of inaction? Dreams die. I'm going to take it to the end again.
Yes.
When we are not in action, uh, dreams die, and when dreams
Yeah.
die, we give up, and
Yeah.
there's no more hope.
Yes.
Um, so I'm looking at our timing in this session and going, if anybody's still listening, they agree with us.
Yes.
So now that now that we've clarified that it's we see the lens and you see the lens, listener. Is there hope? I mean, how do we shift that?
I think it's the other side of the mirror, and the other side being here.
Mm,
The process of again, arc is it's a life path to better choices.
mm-hmm.
And so it's well, what happens when you make a choice, a better choice? You're moving.
Mm-hmm.
It is that movement, it is that motion, and it it just as Casey and I are moving in this mindset as we engage other people, what we're finding going, they're looking at us going, "Wow, look at you moving, look at you
Mm-hmm.
moving," and it's the reality going, "Why aren't you moving with us?"
Yeah.
And it was difficult to quantify because you get caught in people's reactions, their responses. Why are you paying attention to me? And the reality is that complacency. I kind of been going back to the root, going, why are people like running to better choices?
Yeah.
I mean, imagine that people are not running to better choices. I mean, it just and that's becoming normal. And then you go, as I've been researching, going, what's at the heart of it? It's this concept of complacency. I'm good right here.
Mm. And when you say people are not running to better choices, the language behind that for you and I is people aren't choosing arc. And I'm not talking people who don't know arc. It's people who we love, who we see, who we live life with, who've watched us and listened to us do podcasts, and they go, "Gosh, I'm so excited for you guys to do this arc thing, but it's not for me."
Yes.
And what they're in a sense saying is, I'm going to choose complacency. The new normal is inaction, and I'm okay with it.
Yes.
And by choosing that, there's an obvious difference between those who are in action and those who are choosing inaction. And so the question of the podcast today is, what's your choice? And that is at the core what ARC is about, is inviting you to recognize that there's always a choice. And we acknowledge that choice. Then we heal from the choices that are not serving us, helping us. We restore by moving into, how do I make better choices? What does it mean to really put a plan and an action around my goals and my dreams? And how do I step into a kingdom moment so that it's not just about attaining one goal, it's that it's available to live a life of celebration.
Mm.
And so our call today is to invite you to recognize choices. It's still available, and it's available for you right now.
And we're not inviting you to make a particular choice. There isn't something that we want you to do. There isn't. It because
Mm.
it's personal, it's intimate. It's what's in front of you. And it's not a mystery. It's your hopes, as Casey captured it. It's your hopes, it's your desires, it's
Yeah.
your dreams.
Yeah.
What's in front of you? It's you. It's your life. It's the things that bring you to life. When was the last time you sang a song out loud? When was the last time you painted something? When was the last time you went for a run? Or go out into your garden and plant a flower. Just go get a flower, or trim a flower, and you go, but what brings you to life? That's that better choice. Spend
Hmm.
time doing that instead of whatever it is.
And action might look like go get a pair of running shoes.
Uh,
Uh, if you don't have a garden and you don't have a place to go, find a patch of grass that you can stand in.
mm,
It doesn't have to be completion. It has to be a start. It has to be a motion in the direction of, and if you don't know what to do, simply doing anything new is a start. Because when you move into a new direction, you learn something. A lot of times people get stuck not doing anything because they don't think they have the right answer. So then their answer is, well, if I don't have the right answer, I'm going to do nothing, which takes us back to the beginning of this podcast and says, now I am in a place of complacency until I have more information. And then you start to get information. And what do you do with it? You procrastinate because you don't want to be wrong.
yes.
And there is a cycle, what we call downward spiral below the line, where procrastination is normal, it's accepted, and the problem is we're not living into abundance, we're not living into creativity, we're simply having less with
Yes.
every breath.
Yes. And I want to take procrastination off the table as well. It's that snooze button. To
Mm,
procrastinate is to snooze. It's going, I'm just gonna push that off into the future and go as if I did something. And no, you didn't do anything. I'm taking that off the table. If I had a shredder, I would shred it. I don't have a shredder, but there is no that it's not a good thing. I'm
mm.
gonna repeat that. It's not a good thing. We all know snoozing is terrible. Don't do it. Don't It's that procrastination. The complacency is to sit back and not even snooze. That's even less. It's even less. It's going, I'm just not gonna snooze. I'm just gonna sit here and I'm okay not moving. And we need to shift that. We need to encourage each other. And I love what Casey was saying. Go out and just do something. Go find a friend that is moving fast and try to keep up with them. Just that whatever, find
Mm.
somebody that's doing something that you think is interesting and just hold on. Just hold on. Go, "Hey, where are you going right now?" Nowhere. "Can I go with you?"
Before you go too far, I want to go back to the snooze because somebody heard that and said, but Bernard, I'm glad that works for you not to hit the snooze, but that's just the way I do it.
Okay.
It's my normal.
Yes.
And here's what I want to give to anybody who's living in that place. Make a different choice. Why do you snooze? What are you looking for? Is it because you're still tired when you wake up? So then set the alarm back 10 more minutes. And then the reaction is, well, that doesn't work. Then I'm going to snooze 10 minutes later. And if I don't set the alarm early and start my snooze process, this is the pattern. This is how we just highlighted why this complacency is so normal. Um, Go to bed 10 minutes earlier
Yes.
rather than trying to get up 10 minutes earlier.
Yes.
Put an alarm to go to bed and go, look, you really don't need more than 7.5 hours of sleep if you sleep on a regular basis. 6 hours is great if you maintain a lifestyle of health. And some people are going, well, I don't sleep well. Well, then there might be something else you need to change. So we don't start with the snooze button. Start with drinking water,
Yes.
nutrition, exercise. You want to sleep better? Go run, like you suggested. Go work out. These are all the choices that are just awakened by you highlighting a snooze button.
Yes.
You don't have to tackle a problem to move forward. You have to look at the arc path and go, if I acknowledge that I hit the snooze button, it's a gift.
Yes.
Now, what am I going to heal from? What
Mm.
am I going to restore? And how am I going to have a celebration moment when I don't hit the snooze button next time? That's really the invite for a listener. If you believe what Bernard and I are saying, that complacency is found in a snooze button, now today you have the opportunity, no matter what day it is, to begin to go, I'm going to get really curious about what could I begin to shift to not hit the snooze button in 3 days. If you want to go fast,
Love
to
that.
not hit the snooze button tomorrow. But then you'd
Tomorrow.
have to make some changes
Yeah.
because that's a habit.
Yes.
It's a routine. And the ARC path is a lifestyle path of better choices. It's a better choice not to use the snooze button.
Amen. Amen.
That was a whole lot on snooze.
You know what? It's so silly. It's silly because it's something that people celebrate their snooze button,
Yeah.
and it's
Not any longer on this podcast.
because you don't know the price you're paying for it.
We just lost 7 listeners. Bernard, we only had 9.
Well, look, at least the joy, we have 2 happier listeners than we did before.
Oh, mercy. That's you and me. But
But really, at the end of the day, it is about awareness.
Yes.
The more awareness that we have, and this is not just for, we look, we've been there and we are there. And when you take your foot off the gas a little bit, you get a perspective of what's happening in your life. And I'm not saying slow down your rate of movement, but just reflection, just reflect. And for me, it's to lead to this path of complacency in my business was so challenging because I do a lot in my business. I move in so many areas,
Mm.
and yet those areas that I justify to myself, well, I'm just gonna slow way down on this. That's the knife in the bag. Money's rolling out. It's costing me the most money, and you go, well, I didn't know what the right choice was, and so I just ignored it. And it just doesn't work. Anybody that's in business, if you work for someone, if you own the business, um, gosh, even in those relationships, if you waited till the last minute and you didn't get your spouse a Christmas gift,
Uh-oh.
yeah, yeah, and that's complacency. That's, I'm not gonna move, and then at the end, when it comes to crunch time, it's gonna be it's not good.
So we're going to wrap this up and say, show up. Show up for yourself. Show up today and discover what it means for you to show up. To show up as the best version of yourselves. Show up for team building. I mean, that's what I love about team building is we put a few people in a Zoom room and we say, let's go. And at that point, even if somebody drops out, they had to make a choice.
Yeah.
If you don't drop out, you're going to engage a community of people in an activity that you didn't prep for, you didn't plan for, and there you go. Now we're off in team building. Show up in the world. The world is waiting for you to demonstrate that change is possible and it's available and it can be better. So thanks for listening today on the ARC Path. We just wanted to shout out and wake those people up.
Yes.
The snooze button is no longer the only option.
It's off the table. We'll see you guys next time. Don't snooze us. We're watching you. Take care, everybody.